Hello everyone. So first of all, I want to share about my book. This book title is Levi Tian. Levi Tian itself is not a country. There are no villains, no heroes actually, but they are the allegory of nowadays problems between Eastern civilization and West civilization clash in 21st century. Levi itself is the allegory of the West civilization. I took it from Thomas Hobbes' book Leviathan in 1651, while the Eastern philosophy and Eastern civilizations built upon a Tian. Tian means heaven, and every single person in Eastern civilization have a belief that there is something bigger and much more important than itself. Even their freedom, it's the social contract or Tian or virtue, social virtue in the society. First of all, I want to ask you, do you think politics, which is state, and money in the economy, which based on money, and also law, it's a real thing or just a fiction? If you answer it as a real thing, you are halfway to understand this book actually. But the real answer is those entity is a fictional things. We made it. It's not a real things. It's actually a fictions that built to make a civilization, to allow 8 billion sapiens, 8 billion mammals cooperate in very effective way in complex manner. Because actually as a mammals we cannot do that. There is no animal in this world, especially mammals, can cooperate in very big number. And what and kind of things allow us to do that? It's a story, a fiction, which is in this case is state, law, and money. In my backbone theory of this book actually, I introduce a social operating system theory. What is it? If you imagine every single person in this world as a part of a computer, maybe you are a CPU, or maybe a GPU, or a power processing unit, or a regulatory system, or maybe you are a cable, internet cables or electrical cables. You have your own expertise, you have your own purposes in this world, but you cannot do everything, right? Because you have your own expertise. So you focus on what you can do and let another people fulfill your another needs. For example, is if you are a teacher, you don't need to farm your own food. You don't need to harvest your own food. You just let the farmer to do it, and you teach the farmer's son, or maybe the villager's sons, and they pay you a fictional money that you and the villagers or the farmer agree upon it and exchange goods and services. In that case, you can do what you expert on it, and they can do what you expert on it. Meanwhile, while you can exchange, at the end you can exchange your output, your service, your goods that you produce. Sounds good? Yeah. That is the backbone actually of the world civilizations. The state just to ensure that nobody betray or disobey the rule itself right by law. And law is just a fiction that we agree upon it. It's just a rule of the game, we agree upon it, and the state reinforces it, so you obey it. You and other people obey it. Now, so basically, it is about an order and a system that clashed. The Levi represents civilization that believe freedom generates order, that market refine truth, that competition sharpen excellence, that trust can be engineered through incentive. While Tian represent a civilization that believe order generate freedom. What I get to say? That coordinations prevent collapse actually. The data can optimize justice and the harmony must be architected before liberty flourish. That's why you can see a lot of countries in Western civilization are rejected an idea about putting CCTV all over the place. Why? Because it's violating their freedom. Meanwhile, the Eastern civilization like Singapore, Japan, South Korea, China feel safe under a CCTV surveillance. It's actually two different civilizations. And both of them nowadays claim stability, prosperity. But the blind spot, it's very dangerous and risky. Levi risks fragmentations. You can see a lot of Western civilizations, a lot of Western countries like UK, United States, Germany, France. They have a problem about political fragmentations, about left versus right, about maybe nationalism versus wokeism, and etc. But it's not that Eastern civilization didn't have its own problem. You can see Japan, South Korea, China, and Singapore. It's very well ordered country. But at the end of the day, a lot of people say that they are too rigid, too bureaucratic, too cold. They like a screw work in a machine, like a gear work in a machine, not a people. They lack of warmness in that society. And between them stand a short questions. What happened when artificial intelligence, new energy, democratic pressures, and algorithmic governance reshape the very foundation of this society, especially the state? That's why I actually wrote this book, not because of I worry about Industry 4.0, but I'm very worried about government 4.0. Why? Because government cannot be agile. Agile bureaucracy is oxymoron. Okay, today the regulation is like this, A, B, C, D, E, and you are following. But tomorrow the regulation change in sake of adaptations. What happened? The government will dissolve. But artificial intelligence need new kind of state. That's the problem. It's an uncharted water that maybe can kill us much more dangerously, violently than nuclear weapon. We stand upon fictions. Then AI like ChatGPT, Gemini, and etc. can produce its own lie, can produce its own fictions. What happened? When you believe, when there is a threshold that enough to believe the fiction that produced by AI, then the real fiction we made as a human being will dissolve. It's mean you can topple a country without a single bullet. You can conquer a continent without war. And that is a big problem. That's why I say since 2000 or maybe 1990, after a Soviet Union dissolved, to conquer a nation, you didn't need a firepower. You only need an intelligence, better system, operating system, political system, economic system. Look at the dollars right now. It's used for of global in global market, global economic exchange. 80%. That's why Soviet Union lost, because United States are robust enough to coordinate with much more people, maybe 6 billion or 5 billion people. This social operating system war will give you a view that a state, government, and bank behave like a software and resemble a protocol, which is a law, and trust in market will migrate from sentiment into much more rational version, rational code, and power will shift also toward those understand the new architecture. This book will be shared not with maybe academic language that hardly to digest. Merely we will give you a novel model that is a country that will symbolize every single civilization right now that clashing in the 21st century. I cannot open it right now, just a matter of surprise for you. And if you want to read it, you can buy it through Amazon or Periplus. Now let's move on. I'm not just want to share about a book today, but about a new kind of world building. If you ever watch Harry Potter or read Harry Potter franchise or maybe Lord of the Rings, they just give you a picture and a story, a narrations. But in this book, I'm over something different. It's an interactive augmented reality through my new website about Levi and Tian. Now imagine about UEFA or maybe FIFA World Cup between let's say Netherlands versus Germany, or in UEFA Manchester United versus Real Madrid, or Bayern Munich versus Arsenal under the floodlight of a arena. Two styles, two philosophy of play meet in one stadium. One emphasizes fluid attack and open creativity. Meanwhile, the other emphasizes discipline, rigidity, structure, calculated precisions. And every single eye in this world watch very closely every single move they make. But here's the truth. Footballs in this story, it's not just begin at the kick off and ended when the last fluid, and not just ended when the last whistle blow. Before the final, there are academies, there are a tactic boards, there are a debate about formation, strategy, identity. And the end, there is no actually end in this match. Why? Because this is an allegory. I take it from a real world problem, so you can interpret it with a real world conditions about Levi and Tian match. Now let's go to the website. Now this is the void. What is void? In architecture, void is mean a blank page that welcome you And when you enter the word, you can see there is the arena, social operating system, academy, canon, gallery, echo chamber, global hall, and relics. You can see in the arena there is latest news and writing component that we share with you, while the social operating system is the maybe back end or the backbone theory about Levi and Tian. You can see a lot of latest research and some vocabulary, special vocabulary in this story that we use as the backbone of the story. There is a governance model, demographic structure, risks, and the limitation of the theory. Let's see the academic one. Now, this is the real one. You can try to do an assessment to find your place in a Levi and Tian word, which is you can choose the role by a recommendation of the system itself. It's almost like an MBTI test, but in a Levi and Tian word. You must answer some of a real word problem. Then you must decide which decision you would take, which risk you will have. This one, I get an architect, which is our main character are an architect. And this one you can see the traits of the architects: defender, explorer, and disruptor. You have to roll, you have to behave like some of this role actually. And there is some policy scenario, which is we have a 3 automation dilemma, energy crisis looming, and government legitimacy collapse, which is already in our book. Then you have to decide what kind of decision you will take. We also give you the expected impact of these decisions. For example, override the mandate, have a high innovation, high inequality, but low stability. And that kind of risks you must to recognize. You must consider the risks and take one of these decisions. In this, after this decision is already submitted, and you must to sign in to continue to play. Now, you already signed in as an architect, and you have your own email. We will update it every single news, or maybe in your email after that, after you play the game. Now there is a canon. Canon is about the real law and research that built in this game, which is the rule of the game itself. In a gallery, you can access 3D augmented reality of our Levi and Tian world. You can immerse into it and imagine what you would do after this. You can also do immerse in a gallery, immerse in the 3D augmented reality while listening the scores and narrative audiobook in echo chamber. This will be a game changer, and the end game of this game is actually the discussion room. It's almost like a Discord or maybe Reddit, but much more academic and serious way. You can see there is a lot of people with a different role discussing about some notions in a global town hall. Maybe in the future we will engage this global town hall into offline discussions. I hope it will be much more open with AF. Now, these relics you can buy our merchandise, and that's it. It's a Levi Tian website. Thank you to listen until the end of our video. This is actually a game changer in a literature work. Usually a literature work will immerse you through just narrations, just maybe a book or audiobook, but these kind of things engage you as a player in a real world. I give you the prediction, I give you the backbone of our society, and you maybe could be the next engineer of this world. Who knows? Maybe you would be a leader of a party, leader of a very influential company, or maybe just a farmer that take care the very base of our society. But whatever you take, whatever role you have in this society, you are matter. You are a good, important person. That let this giant machine of civilizations rolls.